Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Education Committee meeting for May 8th, 2024. Thank you for joining us this evening as it is such a beautiful day outside. You are here with us to discuss the important matters of our education committee in the William Penn School District. Without further ado, I will turn the meeting over to Tara Brown.
All right, can everyone see my screen? All right, first we'll have artificial intelligence presented by Dr. Agnew.
Good evening. So the William Penn School District is doing a multifaceted program to introduce AI and investigate it for the William Penn School District. And a key component of that is the AI working group that we have formed and which has already met. And what they will do is they will look at best practices for teachers and for administrators and for students, and really investigate what are the best tools for them to use, and also to prepare professional development to really teach people to critically think about the tools that they're using. And so you can see the members on the right-hand side there of the group. And what we did is we tried to get a varied cross-section from the district. So we have elementary, secondary teachers. And we also tried to find people from the administration building, secretaries, IAs, so that we really had a cross-section of the district staff. Oh, next slide. So this is our timeline for our program up until the beginning of next school year. So we formed the group. We had many volunteers who volunteered for the group. And as I said, we tried to create a cross-section for the district. And then we've met twice already. And the first time we met, we came up with our vision and we really looked at what we wanted to be the goals for the group. And then the second time that we met, we created our guiding principles, which are really the things that we're going to focus on as we create procedure and professional development for staff and students. Are there any questions?
Ms. Brown, I don't see any questions, so we can continue to proceed.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So now we'll go into our academic, elementary academic schedules for 24-25, and Dr. Agnew is going to lead us there as well.
So I'll be presenting schedules for William Penn's Cyber Academy, the personalized learning community, and it's a little bit different than a normal elementary schedule. So what I really wanted to highlight was the teacher schedule. And what you can see is our elementary teacher supports the Edgenuity teachers that we use for the subjects by providing homeroom where she does SEL with the students, and also tutoring the students and offering assistance to them, and doing a lot of the housekeeping that you would do in a normal building. So we do, she will do dibbles for students. She'll also meet with parents and students and discuss any testing or any other things that students would need to complete throughout the year. And if you look here, these are some of the sample student schedules that we recommend that students follow is they go through their school day. These are just sample schedules that we can meet with the students individually and create individualized schedules for them if that will help them to take breaks if they would rather take more breaks in the beginning of the day or in the end of the day. So these can be customized based upon the subjects that the students have. And there's a 4 and 5 schedule. And then in 6th grade, we also have a schedule for 6th grade as well.
We'll
Good
see.
evening. Good evening, everyone. Dr. Watson Bowie, and we do have a schedule for Alden and Colwyn for both schools that help us support us into making sure that we have a 8:40 entry time and homeroom time for our students. Is where they have their breakfast in the classroom. And they also have an opportunity to take attendance and supporting our students and getting settled for their day. They do have a 25-minute SEL period where they deal with social emotional learning topics from our second step program. We have common periods with our grade level partners. So when we have 2 second grade teachers, they have common planning time so that they can plan for lessons for their students. Our kindergarten through 2nd grade are self-contained, meaning that they have one teacher that goes through all of their instructional blocks. Here's a sample of a classroom schedule for 2nd grade that is self-contained, which actually gives a breakdown of the minutes. This allows them to have 40 minutes for science and social studies, rotating days, and then we have math and ELA, which is 85 minutes, which is our core instruction for our students. And then we have our intervention block, which is part of instruction for supporting students at varying ability levels, and so making sure that they have support to grow and towards meeting some of their academic goals throughout the year. Then we have a writer's block, which is similar, but is for ELA, the ELA period, and that has an A-B schedule, which is like an A day and a B day, so that they get an opportunity to get support in both content areas. As we go down to the prep period, they have a 40-minute prep period. And then we do have push-in opportunities for our learning support teachers and our itinerant autistic support teachers for students that are included in the core curriculum. And then our learning support teachers will have an opportunity based on the master schedule to schedule their schedule so that they can also do pull out for those students who have to meet their IEP goals, which might require them to have a certain amount of time that they are pulled out to be able to get their individualized instruction that meets their learning support plan. And then finally, when we look at the schedule, we do have that intervention block, which allows us to maximize our use of our academic interventionists in reading and ELA so that they don't have a conflict and all of our students can get the support that they need for targeted groups of students based on their benchmark, meeting their benchmark goals or growth goals throughout the year. So that is pretty much. Oh, the one thing that I did want to add is that we do have a 45-minute block that is, as you can see throughout each grade level. On the left side, you'll see the different grade levels from kindergarten up to 6th grade. And then they do have a 45-minute block where they have a 30-minute lunch and then a 15-minute recess in that time frame. So thank you to the academic support for allowing us to see this schedule in a different way and being able to maximize our time. And if we move to the right, we can see that at the end of the day, our day ends at 3:25, which allows us to transition for dismissal starting in buses for our 3:30 to 3:40 dismissal time frame. Thank you. Any questions?
Dr. Watson Bowie will take questions at the end of all presentations.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You'll assist us there. Principal Smith for Ardmore Avenue.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Our schedule. All right, our schedule is following with the core curriculum. We also have identified for our schedule a homeroom and SEL block in which our students are using the second step and or Flipgrid videos that are conducted by our students with the support of our counselor, Ms. Blasey. Our K-3 are self-contained classrooms, and our 4 through 6 are departmentalized classrooms. On our schedule, you will note that we have the proposed schedule for our special ed department and our ELD teachers as well. So our special education teachers and our ELD teachers provide that in-class and out-of-class support to ensure students have the opportunity to maximize access to the core curriculum. The schedule also provides more opportunities for our SLD, our ELD, and our specialized services department to co-teach with the general education teachers in the classroom. There's also the MTSS block, and that is the out-of-class support, which is focused on providing skills-based interventions by our academic interventionists for reading and for mathematics. In that block, they also use technology-based interventions and opportunities to meet one-on-one with the gen ed teacher or in small group. Our schedule also allots for a 30-minute lunch and a 15-minute recess. On our schedule, we also have opportunities where our teachers are participating in common planning time, and it is from 8:15 to 8:55 in the morning every 2 weeks. In addition to that, every 2 weeks, we have opportunities to have an MTSS operational meeting, and that focuses on academics, behavior, and attendance. Finally, once again, that students are able to engage in small group instruction with the gen ed teacher, academic interventionist, special ed, and our ELD team as well.
Evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Evans, and ready to move on. Our bell schedule here, you can see Bell Avenue is prepared to service the children. K-1-2 will be self-contained, and grades 3 through 6 are departmentalized, where students will have and be instructed by an ELA teacher for ELA and social studies, as well as a math and science teacher. It is so tiny. Are you on the? I'm sorry.
This is what you presented.
I know, no, okay. Can you go back to the first slide? The first slide, yes, go back right there. So kindergarten, first and second, has pretty much the same schedule where we are prepared to open up our doors at 8:40 a.m. The students will be going to their classrooms where they will receive their breakfast. We are implementing a reading program, one book, one sound. So the entire school will be reading the same book. During our homeroom and SEL program, we will be kicking off our theme of friendship in September. We have our blocks for math, science, and social studies, as well as ELA, following using the core curriculum. You will see that recess and lunch are in place for all grades. Can you go to our 3 to 6? You can either go 3 or higher, okay? So here on this schedule, you can see how we are departmentalized. Intervention blocks are in place for all grades. We will be able to provide intervention in math and ELA, where the interventionists will go in or either pull out students to work in the areas of ELA or math. Small group instruction is also in place for the classes where we have our special ed teachers who will be pushing in or pulling out, depending on the A or B day, will determine whether or not they're being pulled out or pushing in. Science and social studies is running, well, science is running for 40 minutes. And they have enough time for preps, which is 40 minutes as well. Our schedule also allows for us to have CPT in the mornings. We run 1 week math and 1 week alternating weeks for ELA. Well done, Ms. Brown.
Thank you, Dr. Evans.
You're welcome.
Dr. Williams, East Lansing.
Good evening. Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Williams, principal at East Lansdowne Elementary. Once we get on my schedule, I'll mimic a lot of the things that my colleagues said and summarize to the sense that we have SEL block, we have the lunch and recess, we have our predominant math, ELA, science structures in place. I will say that for this year coming, our intention is to, while we want to remain departmentalized insofar as ELA and math are concerned, our ELA and math teachers will also teach science and social studies, therefore making it consistent and more continuity with offering our science, having our science offerings more consistently. And I will also say a change for this coming year will be, we will be operating from a day A and a day B block. And what that simply means is that we can alternate between science and social studies on day A and day B. When you count up the number of days in the school year, there are equal amount of day A's as there are day B's. And so I would say that would be something that I did not hear other schools present that sounds a little different at East Lansdowne. Outside of that, we do have our common planning time block, which again will be from 8:15 to 8:55. We do that alternating with grades each morning, Monday through Thursday. We have our MTSS blocks on Friday, every other, the third and fifth, or the third and fourth Fridays of the month. Outside of that, I do believe I would be mimicking anything anyone else said, but there we have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Evans. I'm sorry,
You're
Dr.
welcome. No problem.
I was mimicking the person before you. Next, we'll have Principal Smith from Evans.
Good evening. So we are, much like my colleagues, we have our schedule that includes that SEL time, the 45 minutes lunch recess combo, specialists. We are, however, a little bit different. We are compartmentalized from grades 2 through 6. So our second graders also split with math and ELA. We also, I think one of the things we also do is we have a separate intervention block throughout our day. Each grade level has a 30-minute intervention block. And that kind of allows us to, that allows us, we really focus on ELA at that time. So it gives us the opportunity to have several teachers available. So we use our interventionists, an IA, 2 grade level teachers. So it gives us between 4 and 5 adults working with groups for that 30 minutes, 4 days a week. And on the 5th day is a progress monitoring day for the groups. We also have intervention in our math classes. And that is when our interventionists push in during the small group instruction time and pull an additional group that may need support at that time. And it's currently the schedule we're utilizing this year, and it is working well. So we're seeing results. So we're going to continue with that. And we're going to look for ways to add, much like my colleagues, we have CPT in the morning for teachers, and during their special times, twice a month, we take one ELA and one math for data meetings. And then we are looking for ways, and I do have a call into Mr. Dunn. We're looking for ways to get our Legos that we started this year as an after-school club. We're looking for ways to implement that throughout the day. If we can figure a way to do that, we will add that to our schedule at a later time. I have lots of thoughts in my head, but I need somebody else to bounce them off.
We appreciate you being transparent. Thank you, Principal Smith. Principal Fields for Park Lane.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I do not want to repeat what my colleagues have said. We are all doing generally the same thing. We've got our SEL in the morning, lunch preps, CPT meetings covered in the morning first thing. I did have or talk with my staff, so I shared this staff sample with them and ask them about their day and what does it look like and what's best for the students and the teachers in the building. So there's staff input on what the schedule looks like, where specials are, transition times, we're departmentalized from 4th through 6th. So that transition and getting the right amount of time with both classrooms to do both things, they was able to give me some information with that and how to make it make sense for everybody. Our intervention schedule is kind of what we have now. We didn't have it as etched out as it is on the schedule. So we're definitely gonna fine tune that, as well as our special ed schedule will get fine tuned into here as well, so that they are not pulling or pushing in during instructional blocks of time, and that they can pull from special small group time or social studies or science time when it's appropriate for those students to push in. Including the writing piece will help us with our TDAs and CRQs. So making sure that writing is happening across the board in all grades. And then making sure we built in, which we always forgot at that transition time. Mr. Dunn reminded us, the kids don't stop one thing at 11:30 and start again at 11:30. There's got to be some transition and movement time. So building that in helped. I think teachers will appreciate that as well. And the reality of 3:20, it's not, we get out at 3:30, but they don't just walk out the door. They have to finish what they're doing and wrap up and closure. So building that time in for the students, that is our plan. We also have MTSS and SPED. And I do staff huddles on Friday, alternating through the week, the Fridays as we go through, to make sure that I see and talk to everybody and where are we and what do we need to do next. So I think this collaboration will work for us this year. Thank you.
Thank you. And closing out our school schedules, we'll have Ms. Anthony presenting on behalf of Principal Williams for Walnut Street Elementary.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me this time. Our schedule is being presented on the screen. As stated before, we have the common planning time for the grade levels. We also have common social and emotional learning time. We have if you notice at the bottom, our intervention schedule is such that the grade level has intervention at the same time, which allows for the resources to be spread out and more adequately serve the children. Our special ed model is a push in and pull out model, and also we are self-contained K-3 and departmentalized 4 through 6. And I believe that's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, are there questions from the school board? And I don't see any hands raised. I just raised mine, but I don't have a question.
All right.
Let's press on.
Yep, I'm pulled up already our district-wide survey, so I would like to introduce Mr. MacArthur, who is our research and evaluation supervisor, and he'll lead us through where we currently are with our district-wide survey for 2024. Mr. MacArthur?
Hello, everyone. It is so nice to be with you on this beautiful evening. We're going to go through four main things tonight in regards to the survey. First, I'm going to just share some context about the purpose of the survey and how representative it is of our different constituent populations. And then I'm going to talk about, I'm going to go into some findings from an analysis we did of the survey results. And I'm going to start by talking about the strengths that we uncovered. And then I'm going to talk about a few areas of growth that we're continuing to dig into, and then we're going to end with some next steps. And then Tara, do you want to share your screen, or do you want me to? How do we want to present the actual slides?
Give me 2 seconds.
Sure. While Tyra is doing that, I can press on because the oh, there we go. If you just go one slide back. As I said, I want to start with context. So the survey itself, the current iteration of the survey is actually the product. It's one of the strategies from our Focus Forward 2025 plan. And the purpose of the survey is to support our ability to improve school culture, student engagement, family engagement, and community involvement. It also should allow us through the survey, through the staff survey, to help retain high quality and diverse staff. And there are three main surveys: a student survey, a family survey, and a staff survey. The student and the family survey is, and we're in the third year of administering the survey in this way. The student and the family survey we administer using a platform called Panorama Education. And the survey, we use that platform and it's the source of the survey questions. It is a research-based survey that is designed for high reliability. And it also has questions that are given in thousands of schools across the country. So we also, as you'll see in the coming slides, we get normative information about how our results compare to other results. The staff survey we administer simultaneously, but through another platform called SurveyMonkey, and it has aligned but different topics. And those topics really are focused on our ability to understand our staff satisfaction and retain our staff over time. And the purpose of me presenting today is really to give our community a sense of the results from the survey so that we can collectively help as a community strengthen our school culture as I talked about. All right, let's move on and talk about participation. So surveys are only as strong as they are representative of our community. And as you'll see on the next slide, there's some good news on the participation front. So survey response rates went up across all three of the surveys that I mentioned. And for both the student and the family survey, we had the highest completion this year of the 3 years that we've been giving this survey. It also is true that we still have some room to grow on the family survey front. About 1 in 6 families are represented in our survey, and we want to bring that up over time. But our student surveys and our staff surveys are representative. They're representative of almost our entire population, 90% plus. If you'd like more information about the participation rates of our surveys, you can click on that link in the presentation, and there's a whole entire presentation about survey participation. But today, we really wanted to focus on the findings from our survey. So why don't we go to the next slide and start talking about the strengths. So the first strength I want to highlight comes from our parent survey. So 83% of our parents responded favorably to questions about barriers to engagement with the school. And what that means is that parents in general, most parents, the vast majority of parents, feel that barriers to engagement with their school are low. So the questions on the survey in relation to this ask parents, are you able to get in contact with your student's teacher easily? Are you able to get your student to school? Do you have any transportation issues? Do you have any childcare issues? And 83% of our parents say no. We are able to engage with the school in the way that we feel comfortable in order to support our students. And that's a great thing. And that presents a real opportunity because it means that we have the opportunity to leverage our parents as partners. Like I mentioned, we also have normative data. So we also know that when we compare these results across the country, we're in the 50th percentile, which means that our parents feel that the barriers are on average, we're similar. Our results are similar to other schools across the country. Let's talk about another strength and go to the next slide and talk about a strength from the student survey. So in our elementary schools, so this is focusing in the grades 3 through 6, 63% of our students feel that they have strong relationships with their teachers. And this also puts us in on par with other schools around the country. And what this means is that there's real opportunity for us to leverage the strong relationships that teachers have with their students to help them overcome challenges and excel. It is also true that this question, fewer students in the secondary realm answer this question favorably. And particularly in our middle, we do have a drop when we go to middle school, and then it increases later in the later secondary grades. And we do have a hypothesis that the students end up feeling really comfortable with their teachers, K to 6. But then when they transition to 7th grade, it's a big transition for them, and there's a dip in their relationships that they then begin to rebuild as they stay in school. So there is opportunity to better help students during that transition. So this is a strength, but we're still looking for ways to make it even stronger. All right, let's talk about one more strength. So let's talk about a staff strength. So looking at the staff data, what we find is that most students feel like, or most staff, I apologize, feel like they understand their role and have the resources they need to be successful, and they feel like they have really strong bonds with their colleagues. So we saw that in grades 3 through 6, that students have strong relationships with their teachers. Well, there's a parallel to staff in our community, and this is across K to 12 staff, feel and across roles. So it's true for central office staff, and it's true for school leaders and secretaries and teachers. In all categories, most folks feel like they have good relationships with their colleagues, and they understand their role and have the resources to do well. So that's a strength and a real opportunity. One other strength that I want to highlight from the, and this is specifically focused on teachers, is that we, like I mentioned, this is the 3rd year of the survey, and every year we create an action plan as a district, and we put into place strategies to help improve survey results over time. And one of the ways that we had success with this last year was with satisfaction. Our teachers, more of our teachers felt satisfied with their role. More of our teachers felt their roles were sustainable. And our teachers also felt like they got stronger communication from district leadership than in years past. Now, I don't want to say that we're there where we need to be, but I do want to, because what we're going to see, there are some areas for growth that are still there. However, the strategies that we put into place made a difference. And those strategies, some of them were the schedule. We made sure to have common planning time so that teachers had opportunities to do some planning while in school. We also adjusted the professional development schedule based on teacher feedback. On the sustainability front, we implemented Wellness Wednesdays to give teachers opportunities to do things like get their appointments in, to go to the doctor and dentist. And then also we built in some days off in the fall because teachers were saying that in the fall in particular, there's a long stretch of time without days off, and that was really difficult for them. We also tried to give more opportunities for district staff to interact with and communicate with our school community, things like Docs Wednesday Word and Fireside Chats, but also more presence in the classroom and the Employee of the Quarter program. And the new website. So there's quite a few things that resulted in an increase in favorable responses, particularly for teachers. Now let's talk about a few areas of growth, because like I said, we're not where we always are looking for ways to get stronger. And I just mentioned that more folks feel like their work is sustainable than in the past. But the truth is, still most folks, the majority of staff in our community still feel like their work is unsustainable. And we know that teaching is a calling, and it's a difficult profession, but we still want our teachers and our staff at large to be able to stay in the position a long time. So we're going to be working to find more and more ways to make the work feel sustainable over time. Just so you know what you're looking at here, up top is the percent of folks in different roles who responded favorably to questions about sustainability. And then on the bottom is the amount of growth between last year and this year. So it is both an area for growth, but an area that is getting better. So there is hope and there is opportunity to continue on this positive growth and see even more growth over time. All right. One other area of growth, or two other areas of growth. We're going back now to the student and family survey. What we're seeing here is again, the percent favorable, but this is specifically in the topic about school climate. And the questions on the Panorama survey on school climate are about how students feel about the energy at their school. About the behavior of other students and the extent to which they are or are not interrupting student learning. And what you can see is that less than half of our students are responding favorably to questions about school climate. And that's the first column. And then the second column helps us put that in the perspective. And so you saw in those other questions, we were average. But in these areas, we're below average as a district. And in the last column, you can see how that compares to the last year, because this is, we just gave the survey in 2024, comparing it to 2023. Both family members and students in grades 3 to 6, favorability rates went down a little bit. But for students in 7 through 12, they went up. So they're moving in the right direction. But students in 7 through 12, we also have the farthest to go. So school climate is definitely something that we're going to want to focus on in the coming months in our action planning. All right, and another area of growth, this again comes from the student survey. Questions related to student engagement. It was also true that those questions, that less than half of our students answered questions around this favorably. Questions around student engagement are questions about whether or not students feel excited to come to school, whether the content is interesting to them, and whether they feel that their teachers are excited about the content. And as you can see, this is another area where right now we're scoring below average. And in grades 3 to 6, we have a lower favorability rating than in years past. And in grades 7 through 12, it is flat. So it is another area that we're going to want to look to how to increase student engagement over time. All right, now let's talk about next steps. And I think it's so we just talked about some things are going well. We saw some strengths. We also saw that when we take action, we're able to increase results over time. So now that we have these results, we're going to continue to dig into those areas of growth, and we're going to create a district action plan where we put into place strategies for next school year. And as the district comes up with an action plan, school leaders will also come up with school level action plans that are based on their specific school level data. And you can see that by August, both the district and schools will have action plans that are focused on increasing the areas that we talked about in the coming year. Then in November of next year, we're going to have progress monitoring meetings and check in on the strategies that we implemented to increase results over time. And then finally, April of next year, we'll be administering the 24-25 survey, and we'll be able to see how those results compare to the results I just shared. All right, any questions?
There was a question in the chat, and I believe it was around slide 41, 42. There was information referenced on where we are in the 2023. And the question was, should it read 23? Should those dates say 2023?
Oh, yes, we did launch a new website in 23. Yes, apologies. Yeah, we launched those strategies last year for impact this year. Yes, that is correct. Thank you for that attention to detail.
Thank you. Mr. Tom.
Thank you, Ms. Cook Henry. So I have a question for you, Mr. MacArthur, regarding parent surveys. So if there are multiple students or children from that family taking, going to school, does the parent get more than one survey? And if they fill out one survey, does that count for the family, or do they have to fill out all the surveys? Is that one of the contributing causes, or potentially contributing causes for why some of us have lower turnout for parents, because we counted every submission and not a family submission?
Yes, we did have a small, we do have actually quite a few families who have multiple students. We did count a family. We looked at the overall family completion rate. So no, to your answer is that causing our response rate to be lower? It is not. We did take that into account. But parents do get the opportunity, if they would like, to submit multiple surveys. So that because it could be the case that their students are having different experiences, but we do give ourselves credit, so to speak, that if a family responds, they count positively in the participation rate.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So my thoughts are related to comments. And so where those areas where we were strong, let's acknowledge and celebrate. And there was a question for me there. Did we have a sense of, did we have a sense of why there was the improvement over time?
Specifically, are you referring to the staff survey, or were you referring to the student and parent survey?
Students.
We actually, that's a tomorrow, actually, we're getting our school leaders together, and we're going to do a deep dive on the student data. And so I would say that we have a working theory on the increases in staff, but don't yet have a working theory on the students. And we will have the opportunity to talk to our principals about that tomorrow, and should be able to get back to you with a working theory of where we've seen increases. What were the drivers of those increases?
And then I just look forward to what we can do as a collective to address those concerns, as was mentioned, related to school climate and student engagement. So we'll stay tuned.
Absolutely.
And then officially welcome.
Oh,
Glad that
thank
you
you
were
so
able
much.
to share with us this evening. Ms.
Wonderful
Brown,
meeting.
is there anything else that you have for us this evening?
No, the survey concluded our agenda for the evening. This was Mr. MacArthur's entry activity. So we welcome him. This was his actual first task, to unpack the survey. So catching him up to speed was a heavy lift, and clearly he's the right person for the job. So I appreciate the board for your support on that offer as well. Thank you everyone for participating this evening. Principals, we could not have done this without you and your leadership. We do appreciate your partnership with academic services so that we could continue to implement the Focus Forward strategic plan. We have 2025, which is ahead of us, so we still have a lot more work to do. So aligning our schedules really helps this lift in our next leg of this journey. Next month, I do want to welcome back most administrators and school leaders, as you will be presenting certain information for your schools. Next month, education committee meeting will probably be lengthy. So I do want to inform the education committee board of directors that next month will probably be a lengthy meeting. So lots of tea, popcorn, and water ahead of time. Be prepared because we will see each other for over an hour.
Ms. Brown, there is a hand in the attendees. Ms. Lewis has her hand up.
Okay, can we bring her over Zoom 1, Zoom 2?
She's able to speak now.
Thank you, Mr. Tong.
Thank you. I apologize. My hand is not up. I just wanted to, I'm sorry.
No worries. We look forward to next month and the lengthy process, because you guys are working very hard to help us achieve those goals. And so whatever it takes for us to be informed and to stay focused on our goals, we're all in. I appreciate all of you. Have a great evening. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Good evening.